Millions of passengers at Heathrow Airport in London are furious. With no metro stop serving the massive demand for Londoners trying to get home, they're being charged insane prices by rental car companies and rideshare apps like Uber and Bolt. Passengers, airport workers, and even the TfL are demanding an immediate route from Heathrow straight into central London. So that's exactly what we're doing today. We're extending our central line, adding an airport express line, and hopefully calming down a whole lot of very tired air travelers. If you've ever overpaid for an Uber out of the airport, leave a like. And if you prefer transit no matter what, leave a like for that and let me know your experience below. Okay, so we're going to be continuing our central line today. Let's hop into Google Maps and I'll show you guys the route idea I had in mind. This follows another Roman alignment, the Devil's Highway, which connected Londinium to Silchester in the west, which is near Reading. So originally I based our central line off the central line you see in London today and the Elizabeth line in the east. So we're going to continue today, starting with, we're going to have a flyover after Canary. That way we can send one route up to Eastham, I think, and maybe further on. And then one route is going to go through the O2, this arena right here, through the airport and ending at Woolwich. And then in the west, so after Shepherd's Bush, we'll have another flyover and we'll send it north to Greenford. The Greenford and East Ham branches will be made in a later video, but we'll make both the flyovers so they're ready for that day. But our main line will head from Shepherd's Bush to Heathrow along this main road right here. And this is called the Devil's Highway, this road right here. Also, I want to shout out Zazu, who showed me Winky Maps. This was really helpful today, finding the names of the neighborhoods that I was looking for. So thanks again, Zazu. Okay, we're over here in the west at Shepherd's Bush. The first thing we're going to do is build a flyover, sending a line somewhere northwest over here to Greenford. We're not going to build any of these stations today, but I do want to start the route. And then we're going to have our main line head down this street right here, Goldhawk. So let me build this flyover. Okay, first thing, I changed the track colors to blue. I saw this on a City Planner Plays video. Let me know if you like it. I think it looks a little more interesting. The plan for today is to run an airport express line along with our normal central line. So we're going to create some bypass stations. I think at every other stations, we'll see what works and what doesn't. And how I'm going to run that express line is I'm going to run all the actual tracks parallel. And then some of the stations will be quad and those will be our bypass stations. Our first station will be served by both lines. And this is going to be Ravenscourt / Paddenswick. This area was named for a famous manor, the Paddenswick Manor. And this park right here is Ravenscourt Park. So I want to show you guys something real quick. I basically took the information of where these workers were coming from. And you guys can kind of see the route where my cursor is. And then I was also just dragging along, trying to find where people in central London were coming from. And I was kind of combining those two locations to inform this route. So our next station will be a bypass station. And it's going to be right here. And this is going to be like North Chiswick. This station right here is Turnham Green. So one or the other. And hopefully that these stations fit. And I'll just need to maneuver them around to get them to fit. And we're going to build this at -9 because we are going to have to go underneath these buildings right here. This was actually the site of the 1642 Battle of Turnham Green during the English Civil War. And then our next station is going to be served by both lines. It's going to be this Chiswick Business Park. And you also have the Gunsbury station. And we should be able to get away just using -4 right here. I'm going to switch this demand back over to residents. We're going to have this be a bypass station. This is Brentford FC, their stadium, and as well as this is Kew Bridge right here. There is some residential demand, and I think there is some worker demand maybe missing, especially from the stadium. The stadiums obviously don't get any demand from tourism yet. Maybe in the future they will. But this is going to have to be a bypass station, and hopefully I can fit this in. This road is a lot more narrow than I thought it would be. So let's try to get this to fit right there. Perfect. Our next station is going to be Brentford, just right in the middle of it. This will be served by both lines, so let's build a parallel. So we're kind of skipping every other station for our express line. And then our next station is also going to be a bypass station, and it's going to be mainly for this hospital right here. This is Isleworth, and I wanted it right here at Amherst Gardens. I think it's within walking distance, and there is some residential demand as well as some worker demand from the airport, I remember. So we're going to try to get this because we're going to need to curve the lines. You guys will see in the time lapse. It shouldn't be too hard.
Sure about that?
The next is going to be Hounslow. And this is going to be a parallel stop. This is a Treaty Shopping Center. This building right here. So we're going to fit it right under like the plaza it's got going on. Perfect. And I was thinking about having a station in Feldham, this town right here. I really don't know how to connect it up. You can see there's a national rail line right here. And then there's also lines going north to south. The real line for Piccadilly and Elizabeth line, I think, kind of swoop in and have a stop maybe up here. I think they have a stop actually right here as well. So for now, we're going to avoid the town, but we're going to be very close. So we could add a station in the future and just mess around, because I'm going to have it come down this road and then right here swoop in between. It hasn't loaded, but there are buildings here, and we're going to have it swoop right in between. There's like a little creek that we can use to go to the airport. And we have 3 stations planned at Heathrow. The first one is Terminal 4 right here. And we're going to have to make these all at -11. And these will all be parallel stations because I want each line to stop at the hubs. And for this one, realistically, I think it's in the middle. We're going to just shift it over a little bit. Try to get it right in the middle. And that way it can serve this demand bubble equal to this one. Because if we have it in the middle right here, yeah, it's not too far away, but I just want to make sure we're optimizing our stations. And I don't want 2 stations right here. And this is like the central hub of Heathrow, the main airlines and airport. So this was Terminal 4, Terminal 2, and 3, as well as 1, which I think is decommissioned. And then we have Terminal 5 over here, which was opened pretty recently, 2008, and is the biggest freestanding structure in the UK, which I thought was pretty interesting. And it's built just for British Airways. So let's connect that in. And maybe this one should be a quad, especially if we want to expand over here. I forgot the name, but over here, this town. So there's all of our stations. Just the stations are going to cost $1 billion. I was not expecting that much. That's all right. We'll connect up these lines, and you can kind of see the station distancing. It's just growing, growing, growing. And maybe I should have a station out here. Let me know. I mean, maybe we could swoop it up, have a station here, bring it back down, because this is the main town. I don't want to swoop it down and then back up, because I do have plans. Let me show you guys real quick before we start building this line. If I highlight all these bubbles, you can see there's some north-south lines that are possible, and maybe even there's a lot of workers in the further west over here. So I think I might have some light metro in this area. And maybe heading up to, I forgot the town's name up here as well, but there's a large town up here. So let's connect up all these lines, and then we'll wait a couple of days and extend our central line west. And let me pop in real quick. So this is how we're going to be doing it. We're going to be taking the single tracks on the outside and just bringing them gently in. I think you can only go so far before it kind of breaks it. So we're going to keep it around, trying to aim for like 30 miles per hour. And it should create a node. See how it creates a node right there? It's snapping. And that's going to be ideally where we can connect our other line. And some spots like this, we are going to have to demolish a building. But it's all right. They're just little homes. And you do have to be careful sometimes. I don't know if it's going to mess with the tracks at all, but you can kind of see it's going underneath the track, or like through the tracks. So what you have to do is just back it up a little bit, and that looks a little bit better, and hopefully we don't have any issues there. And I'm actually going to drop this station down to -9, and that way we can just go directly under these buildings without a bunch of crazy turns. And this is going to be another one of those where I drop it to -10, and that way we can make a nice straight line. Nice, we have that all built up. Try to make it as straight as possible. Maybe some areas could have been changed just a little. Maybe mainly this section I don't completely love, but it should work out well. And let's look at our costs, 2.25 billion. If you missed last episode, our revenue went up a crazy amount where we're making almost 700 million a day. So we're gonna skip a few days. We'll build this line out, extend our route, and see how it's handling the traffic. Okay, we simulated into the wee hours of day 40, about 5 days. We have 3.6 million in the bank, which is more than we need. Our costs actually went up. I forgot completely to put in the station at Ravenscourt. So we have that now right here. Our cost is now 2.48 billion. Not too bad. I also added a crossover to our little extension wing right here. And as well, over here at Canary Wharf, I added single tracks, and then I made a turnaround. This isn't realistic at all, but just for now, so we can have the route in place. So I actually recorded about 20 minutes of this segment already, and I had to go back to a previous save file because I realized something with these quad stations was wrong. I think the distance, let me go over here. The distance between the turns or the connections, something was off. So I tried to space it out and straighten this, and you can see the line's a little bit more straighter than it was. So we're gonna go ahead and build this. And because this is so far away, I thought I would have some kind of extension route going to it along with an express route. But I think for now, because we're gonna have that one route that heads north, and then it's also gonna head north over here, that's gonna be, let's call it route A for the central line. And then we'll have route B going south over here, going to Heathrow on this side. I think the middle will be covered by a lot of trains, so I'm not going to worry about having kind of like the TTX line we have for the central line. And speaking of the TTX, not to get off tangent, it's not working. There were so many station blockages over the past couple of days, so we're going to actually delete this route completely, and then we're going to switch to 10 cars per train on our Tontut line and just increase this frequency back up to, I think it was something around this. We're gonna keep our main central line, and that is because this is on the middle tracks, as you can see already, which is where I want our B route to Heathrow to go. So let's select that, and we can just add in all the stations, and then we'll worry about our express later in the episode once we're done. And we just want to make sure this is heading through the middle of all of these stations, which it is. So nice, that is looking good. You can see we're up to, how many stations is that? A ton, maybe 20. So let's go to our trains, and I want to show you guys something. See how it says not enough train cars to increase cars per train? So that means I can't double the cars per train unless I buy more. It has nothing to do with the amount of trains currently if I want to increase frequency. That would only change if I increase frequency and then it says out of train cars, and it will gray this out. So if I see this, I really don't have to worry about it unless I plan to double the amount of cars. So if you were confused about that, like I was, that's what that means. And thanks to you guys in the comments for explaining that. I finally understand. So we are going to have to buy some more trains because I want to get a higher frequency on this line. When we add in that A route, like I said, we won't have to worry too much. You know, there's tons of frequency going out here. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal because we'll also have our airport express line connecting the two airports. We'll have the A line and then the B line all covering this central central line between, it's going to be in between our orbital. So we're going to buy, just for today's episode, I'm just going to make a big purchase of 70 cars. That way we don't have to worry about it. We're going to try to get a 5-minute frequency. So we'll run 15 trains on this. And then for low demand, I want to maybe around 15 minutes should be good. I know the airport requires a lot more low demand than other job centers. And for medium demand, I think around 10 should be good. Something like that. So let's wait at Heathrow for our first train. Okay, a nice little train ride. I'm gonna add in that other central line, and this one. Let me just make sure I have all my stations. Okay, that should be working all nice. I'm gonna label this as Central B, I think, or maybe Central. Actually, I'm gonna label this Central A for airport, and then we'll add in our Central B line. And for now, that's just so we can get a little bit more frequency in the center of town, and then in the future it will be so we can run this route, north up here and north over here. So some of these stations really should maybe be a bypass in the future for our express line if we want to implement that. And I need to make sure I'm on the outside. Does it work? It does. Perfect. Like Fenchurch Street really should be a bypass if we have an express line in the future, so I will have to rebuild that. And with that done, let's make some name changes from last episode. Our first name change is going to be Mayfair. This is kind of a swanky, posh area. You guys all suggested to name it Mayfair. So we'll see if they use this subway. I actually want to see something real quick. If I go to man stats, there doesn't seem to be many people living here, but if I click on this resident population, okay, no. Maybe the income is just randomized. I was wondering if the incomes were all going to be high over here in the census data. And then along the southern portion of the Cripple Cross, you guys all kind of suggested the same names. The first one is, this is the Bricklayer Arms Gyratory, if I'm saying that correctly. It actually, I was doing a lot of research. There's a feasibility study, if you're interested, linked in the description. And they're actually going to be changing this into like a park and adding development here. So this is going to be Bricklayer Arms. And in my notes, I guess there was a train station here a while back, somewhere in the area. And then we have Old Kent Road. And fun fact, it is the cheapest property in UK's monopoly. And then New Cross Gate, we're going to change to New Cross Junction. And that is because our Premier line will eventually run through here, and this will be a transfer station. So that should be good for now. And then we have two more. This one's Southampton Row. We've passed by a couple times today. And I'm actually going to change this to Holborn. It is actually the tubes. There's a tube stop right here where my cursor is. And so we're just going to name it after that stop. And then the last stop was this one right here. We're going to name it Tottenham Green after the park right next to it. And then Clapham North is going to become Clapham Junction just because it is a transfer station. Mind the gap. Mind the Gap is one of the most famous warnings in transit history, born here in London to remind passengers of the dangerous space between the train and the platform. Today we're twisting that phrase. Our Mind the Gap segment is all about infill stations, extensions, and closing gaps in our network. The first things first, we got to disconnect all 5 of our lines because I have 5 infill stations planned for today. So let's do that first. Okay, we got our naked map. Not looking too bad. Our first infill is going to be on the Tottenham 2 line. And this is going to be Shoreditch. Thanks to KPP for suggesting this one. And we're going to have it somewhere in the middle of Liverpool and Haggerston. I think right here at this intersection should be a good spot. So let's disconnect these tracks, and we're going to go a little further back than we need to. And I think this track is all at -10. So I'll need to remember that. Let's bring this to -9, save some money, and get this in right there. And that is probably, we're going to delete this portion of track as well. And let's see our walking times, because the whole point is I kind of want equal distance between all these stations, and perfect 17 minutes between these two. And our next station is going to be on the critical cross line right here. This is going to be Mapesbury. So we're going to get it right on this dot. I think this will be served well. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to disconnect, and actually let me keep my demand stats open just so I remember exactly. And this should be halfway if I do it correctly. So let me click on this station, and it's about a 16-minute walk to Kilburn and about a 21-minute walk to Cricklewood. I'm going to move it up just a tad, starting at this street and ending right here, and that looks a lot better. And in order to keep the speed, I am going to have to delete a big portion of this, which I don't love to do, but it's all right. And now we have a nice straight line, and same thing on this side. I'll probably need to find that 55 miles per hour. So what we'll do is we'll break off a piece right there and reconnect. And now we're down here with our Premier and our critical cross line. Some of you guys suggested I should bring it into Paddington, but I think I'd have to completely miss this little Cairo stop. So my idea was, I think Maida Vale could get pushed up a little bit, and Little Cairo could get pushed up a little bit as well. And then we can have a stop right on the road right here. We can also add a transfer on the Premier line right here, and then maybe swoop it into Paddington as well, or use this as a future station and then just make a direct connection into the existing train line. So we're not going to make any of those changes. Let me know what you think we should do here. We definitely need a transfer between the Premier and our critical cross line in this area, so let me know. We could also just put a station right here. I mean, it'd be very close, but that's one idea. If I put a station right here, just so you guys can see the walking distance, and we're gonna need to, okay, we'll just have that, it's fine. If I click on Crawford, so it's about a 11-minute walk to Little Cairo, 11-minute walk to Marble Arch, and a 12-minute walk to Paddington. So those are very close between each other. I know some of the stations in London are very close. It's not, so I guess we have a large workforce right here. Let me know what you guys think about this area. And then on our King's Line, I wanted to add a station between Bow and Whitechapel. This is gonna be Mile End, named after the park right here, which is famous for the 1381 Peasants' Revolt. If you guys remember that. So I think it should fit in right here. Let's see, if I click on this, okay, it's a 18-minute walk to Bow, but a 29-minute walk to Whitechapel. Are there any workers in the area? No. So we're gonna shift it down just a little bit, and what we'll do is we'll add a node right here, and then we'll delete this portion, and we're definitely gonna have to delete this track back just a little bit. Okay, I'd probably want to see a higher speed, but that's fine. And now if I click, it's a 20-minute walk to Bow and a 26-minute walk to Whitechapel. So not too bad. We kind of want it serving the park anyway. Okay, we have 2 more infills planned. The next one is going to be Earl's Court, which is this area right here. You can see it's all construction right now, but it used to be these huge exhibition halls, and it's just being turned into a new neighborhood. But there is enough demand in the area that it should serve a station well. And these 2 stations are kind of far apart. It's about, what, a 40-minute walk between the 2. So this will sit right smack dab in the middle of them. And I'm going to see if I can get away with using an at-grade subway. So we're going to delete all of this portion back and add this in at -2. And let's see just the walking, 20-minute walk between each, and connect that back in. And then our last one is going to be right here at Shadwell. This used to be like all docks and shipping. Now it's like a bunch of markets, bars, and housing. We're going to get this right in the middle, probably on this demand dot. And okay, we deleted a little bit more. That's all right. Is that going to be too close? Okay, that's perfect, right in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually convert Limehouse and Fenchurch Street to bypass stations while we're over here. And then this will be our main station that will serve the airport express route that we're going to implement later on. So I'm going to work on that real quick, and then we'll move on to finishing our central line. Hey, real quick update. I've started a Discord for the channel, so if you're interested, check out the description below. As well as I'm doing a live stream this Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be playing Subway Builder, not sure what city yet, but I hope to see you there. I got all the infills in and all the routes back, as well as over here I finished up what we were doing. So yeah, I like this idea of I was gonna add a station right here. I think I might in the future, but for now I like how it's spaced out. I like the 2 bypass stations, and then this can kind of serve as this station for the express line. I did notice a big gap I didn't see earlier between Queensway and Shepherd's Bush, so maybe a station here in the future. We'll see if these start to change colors, but for now I think it's all right. So let's head over to Canary Wharf and let's set up our flyover. So I know I want to go to like East Ham over here. I don't know if I want a route following the highway or if I want it, I think I want it along this main road. And then if I want to send it, let me get my demand stats up. If I want to send it further north, we'll see. I decided that I wanted our yellow line to split off, our King's line. So we are going to have one line that I think heads over here. And then definitely we're going to have our main line head up here to get some of this. Or we might have our Piccadilly line go up there. I'm still unsure. I know we need to hit Camden Town over here with a line. And as well as, you know, figure out how we're going to get south. We'll see. But let's focus on Canary Wharf. And I know our flyover, I know I'm going to use this portion of road. So let's have our outer rails, and we'll have this at -10 right there. And then I know we're going to go to the O2 right here. So this is all going to have to be underground as well. So we're actually going to drop this to 15. It's going to double our cost, but that's all right. I am going to have to get rid of this little turnaround real quick. Good thing I had a crossover there, so that's not that big of a deal. Let's delete that. And we'll have this main track drop to 15 as soon as possible. Right there. And then we'll actually delete this portion. And this 15 really just has to go to right here. Actually, we'll get a better curve on that because I know I want it swooping around. Something like that, it will swoop through, stopping there. And then there is the customs house, which is a stop on the DLR. You guys have recommended me to use do something like the DLR for our light metro once we use that, and I agree. So we're not going to touch it today because I have some ideas for that line, because you can see there's a, I guess there was a large workforce I thought over here, but it's mainly just residents. So we'll brainstorm how to connect that up. So let's finish our flyover. So we'll bring it to there, and then we'll add a crossover. Oh, it's too short. So can we add a crossover on this side? We can. So hopefully that works. Let's see. Let's actually test that real quick. Do we have enough? We don't have enough yet to build that. Wow, these tunnels cost a lot. Okay, so hopefully that will work. If not, we'll fix that up. Let's build our stations. So this is the O2. It's the 3rd busiest music arena in the world, and you can even climb the roof, which I thought was pretty funny. We're gonna have this at -9. I think that should be good. and then we'll have a nice gentle curve to our airport. And let's pull up worker demand dots, and I want to be right on top of this, and we'll have this on this portion of road, and that way we don't have to do a curve on this side. And then our last stop is going to be in Woolwich, which is, I think I wanted it on this road. I think the station for Woolwich is right here for the DLR, I believe. And then that we can decide to keep sending this down if we want, or even send it over here on another line. This town has a big military history from what I've read, and it's getting a big makeover as well with lots of development. Okay, let's connect that up, and then our central line is done for the day. Okay, all done. That's gonna cost us about $1 billion, a little bit more than I thought, but I did have to use a lot of standard tunnel over here, but it's all right. So we're gonna need at least 2 days to make this money. I'll join you at day 43 with the line already running for 1 full day, so we can examine the results, look at our new stations, and talk about my line ideas for the future. Okay, all of our routes are in, all of our stations are named. We're doing good. I want to show you guys some things, some numbers real quick. So demand stats, this is peaking at around 330. We'll see after we go through the morning rush what it's at. It's looking pretty good. I'm very happy about this extension. In terms of workers, our central bank dot was I think peaking at 30%, which is great to see. And if we head over to Heathrow, this is now also at 30%. These are a little lagging behind, 20%, 15%. What is this one at? 30%. And this one's 25. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. So about 25% coverage, which is very nice. And if we can, let's highlight just the airport for now and seeing, we're missing some stuff nearby. I think a light metro would serve this area well, and then probably maybe extend this line further out. I haven't implemented the Airport Express because I wanted to see with you guys if it works. So we're gonna type up airport, and I'm just gonna make this green. If you have a different color, let me know. And hopefully we'll see how this works. So ideally it uses the outside lines, which it doesn't. So I realize I need to switch the central A to the outside lines. So actually it's good that it's taking up the middle lines. Let's just add in all these stations, and I'm hoping this works well. I realize I'm gonna have to make a turn at London City. So we're skipping Kew Bridge. Nice. Let's see. Oh wait, we don't want to stop there. All right, let me get this all in. So the issue is I need it to be on the outside rails when it comes into Shepherd's Bush. That way it can skip some of these stations without an issue. So how we're gonna do that, I'm hoping this doesn't cause many problems in the future. I think if I just kind of add a slip lane, so this will be at -4 right there, and then we can connect it in. Let's do it after the flyover. There seems to be an issue. Why is that? I think this is like at -5. Let's see. What is this at? No. Why is it being weird? Okay, we're gonna try something else since that wasn't working. Can I just make a direct connection onto the line? And I think I had it for a second. Right there. Okay, so right there I can make a direct connection onto the line. And we'll see if that causes issues. I mean, it's going to cause issues if Airport Express and... Actually, no, it shouldn't. It shouldn't cause too many issues. It will cause a little bit of issues. So let's build that and see if that works. And then how we'll get it to switch over is just the next station will have a stop. Or actually, no, we're having it stop at Shepherd's Bush. What am I talking about? Okay, there we go. And I'll have to reconnect up all of this. So let me get it all connected up and we'll see if it's working. Okay, that gave me more problems than I'd like to admit, but now we can run some trains on this. I think just maybe let's run, I'll buy a bunch of trains because why not? Let's run 3 and it'll be every half hour. You can hop on the Airport Express. That should be fine. Actually, let's bump this up just a little bit. And then for low demand, we'll just have 2. And basically the reason is I was having issues here and I'm hoping there's not too many issues with this crossover. There's a couple solutions we can target with that. What is nice is you can see what stations are being used as transfer stations. See, we have all the white stations, so you can kind of see it skipping over. Let's let the game run just a little bit. So all of our routes are in, maybe a different name for airport. It is just an express line, but we could probably even skip a couple other stations. Like I have it stopping at Holborn. Right now, that's not a transfer station. There's really no point. I think maybe in the future, if I have something along, what is this road? Eversholt. I'm sure it changes names a bunch of times. Woburn. If we have some kind of route through there, maybe then we'll bring it. Because this is Camden Town. But my idea for Camden Town was bring it down like this, have a transfer station here, and then right away bring it across and try to serve this area. Here, I can pull my demand stats. Yeah, so have some kind of sweeping motion and maybe even, it seems like this area we need to get covered. We'll brainstorm. I know I'm gonna have routes coming down from Emirates. Like I think right here makes sense. You can kind of see all this demand is being missed right now. So some kind of route going up here. Oh, and I didn't show you guys this. So all of our routes are in, and I actually went through and I made all of our trains double cars, and we are gonna lose a little bit of money on expenses. So it's not fully optimized, but if I'm gonna be honest, my computer was lagging already. So I was a bit worried about running too many trains. So we're just gonna value capacity over frequency. We're obviously gonna try to be under around 5 minutes for high demand for all these lines. But I'm showing you now what we're at for all of our lines. And you can see our central line is just taken up a lot. Like it, at a peak rush hour, it is, most of these trains are full, which is very nice. And then we have our central B, just kind of providing backup for now. And then our Tottenham Toot, I think is doing well. This is also double. All of these are double trains now. I'm gonna just call it double train. I don't know if that's the right term. And since making that change, I haven't gotten any warnings yet. Knock on wood for capacity. We're definitely not optimizing our budget, but that's all right. Oh, there we go. An airport train is full. Oh, let's make that airport a double car. Why not? Yeah. Okay, so that's already getting used quite a bit. That helps too because we definitely need a little bit more frequency at the airport. But having our central line just keep adding frequency, it doesn't really make sense because then we're serving this area a little too much. So let's go on route ridership. Our central A is our most used, makes sense. Heathrow is getting a ton of usage, which is awesome. Our Tottenham Toot is not far behind. And I think that is because of the transfers that we're making. I'm gonna go through and look at all our new stations and look at the transfers that we're seeing. Because I'm sure that a lot of people are taking the central and then hopping on the Tottenham Toot to get north and south. Our premier line jumped up, same thing with the transfers, and our airport line is creeping up. And I should factor in the central B line when talking about the central line. So we are at around over 300K ridership, so that's awesome. Let's look at demand. I think this is gonna peak a little higher after the evening rush. We can check in. Let's look at our finances real quick. We're almost paid this bond off, which is great. If I lower the fair price to $3, we're going to get a lot more demand, but it's also going to slow down the save a lot more. I do have an announcement. If you're not on the Subway Builder Discord, they're going to do a Q&A, and it sounds like they're going to be releasing 1.0 pretty soon. So I'm hoping that comes with a bunch of optimization, so it kind of helps speed up my game just a bit. And then I can also return to Boston, hopefully, because I do have unfinished business there. Our revenue jumped up to $1 billion, which is crazy. Our expenses did jump up quite a bit since what we started the episode at day 35. So we are doing quite well. I'm fine with the expenses jumping up. I mean, look how much money we're making in profit. That's fine. And we're at 79% operational profit, which is just very efficient and optimized. That's great to see. So finances, we don't have to worry about a thing in this series. Let's go to station ridership, and I'm going to slow down the game just to 1 speed. And let's look at our stations overview. Let's keep it on station groups, and we'll look through first just all, and then we'll look at transfers. So total use at Heathrow is around 100k, which is great to see. These stations along the path are getting used quite well. If they're around like 5 to 10,000, I'm happy about that. This one's doing 21,000. I wonder if maybe there's transfers here. Not sure. Let's look at transfers. Okay, there are no transfers here. So that's just people in the area getting on. That's great to see. Shepherd's Bush looking great. Most of it from transfers. I'm happy about that. I did want like another kind of central station. So this kind of operating as our west central station, and the Canary Wharf will eventually operate as kind of our east central station. Now going over to the east side, Fenchurch Street really isn't used all that much. This is more of like a legacy stop. That's all right, 5,000. Our new Shadwell stop at 10,000, not too bad. And I think we'll maybe run a route through it in the future, kind of serving this area for our light rail. I had ideas when building this. So we'll check on that in the future. And then this stop, what is this? Limehouse is doing well. And then if we want, we could put a stop here probably. Let's see our demand stats. Yeah, we could probably afford to put a stop there, especially with this big worker bubble that we seem to be missing. So next episode, we'll add an infill right here for this neighborhood. And then O2's getting used more than I thought it would. I don't know if there's not really any demand in this area. So I'm wondering who is using this. Maybe no transfers. Maybe these guys, I guess. Let's see. No, they take Canary Wharf. So I'm not really sure who's using this stop, but good to see. And then London City Airport getting used quite frequently, and Woolwich actually is getting used more. That makes sense though. These terminus stations, when they're in like a busy area, they see a lot of usage because people seem to be, yeah, you can see the cone or the sphere it's kind of grabbing from. And what about London City? What are we at there? I don't know if I've checked. 24%. So not bad, not bad. And then we have some infill stations I want to check before we go today. Let's see, Shoreditch, right here, 13,000, not bad. And our Liverpool Street Station, we gotta start adding some more lines into. Maybe that's one we'll send to Camden Town, up here, or where is it? Yeah, up here. I don't know, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I definitely want to get more usage out of this station, since we made it a quad. We could probably run a similar route using this right away, and then maybe shooting it north. And I just noticed, look, 200k at our central bank station, which is awesome. How many of it is transfers? Well, 75% of the usage here is just transfers. That's great to see though. And then let's see, what other infill? We had Mapesbury right here, 12,000, not bad. We had Earl's Court, 17,000. That's great to see. And then Mile End over here, 12,000. Not bad. Yeah, I think those were smart decisions to make those infills. Definitely this area, because these two are kind of close to each other and maybe like eating each other's demand, but then there was a big gap between Stanford and Earl's Court, or between Stanford and Olympia. So it looks like we're peaking at around 350k users, which is great to see. Do you think we served Heathrow well? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord if you're interested. I want to thank you guys for all the support. Hope you have a great weekend and a great day. Bye-bye.